Hey everybody, this is Jason from the Rogue Banshee, and thank you for joining me today. We're going to talk about the real Avid sight pusher for Glock. Now I know what you might be thinking, the sight pusher. What's so special about a sight pusher? And trust me, I have 4 sight pushers. But this one's really cool. If you are a Glock fan, this is the tool to get. Because it's just a little more than a sight pusher. Real Avid is good at doing design. Now, I have weak hands, and what I like is how you can grip this thing. You can get a good, solid grip on this sight pusher. Now, I've seen sight pushers where they have like these little bars here, and they really are tough to get a good grip on and get some, torque. So this thing really kind of makes it easier to push a sight. Now, Glock sights are usually not too tough, but it's still nice to get a good solid grip of your tool. But this tool has something special. It has a front sight tool built right here into this handle. And it's just held in there with a magnet. It's not hard to get this thing in and out. But on top of having this, if you just unscrew it, there is a Glock Armorers tool. So if you're a novice at working with Glocks, this is everything you need to work on a Glock. From the sight, the rear sight, front sight, to the disassembly. Probably the only thing that would make this thing better as a kit would be if they gave you a bench block. That's about it. You could do all the work on a Glock at that point. Not saying you couldn't do it by hand. You can always use a roll of tape and use that as your bench block. But this thing is a little more than just your standard sight pusher. Now the blade here has a flat side, and then you have the 2 angles. That way you can meet just about any sight that you're going to have. Now Glock sights are usually angled, but what happens if you have an aftermarket sight that might be flat? No problem, this thing can push it. And you can do it left or right-handed. It just depends on which way you're pushing, because Glock sights don't require going in one side over the other. Now this thing will clamp onto a slide right here. There's this little flange here that you can slide on your slide. That way you can get it lined up so you can push the sight. And then you just turn this handle and it clamps it down. Now also with this sight pusher, you get these 2 spacers. And this is giving you the option of moving your slide up and down. And I'm going to throw a chart up over which spacer you use with which slide. Most commonly, you're going to use this thin spacer. The only time you're going to use this thick spacer is actually in combination with the thin spacer. And again, you just look up in that chart, it'll tell you which slide you need what spacer. Some slides there's no spacers. Now, if you're in the 9mm, generally you're going to use this thin slide. Now this does work with aftermarket slides. I have a Patmos slide here that I've pushed these sights on and off with, and it worked no problem. It doesn't matter whether it's a Glock slide, these Patmos slides. I have had a Patmos 17, a 19, in Glock I pushed a 26, and also a 43. Now, if this is locking onto your slide, well, 43 slide is narrower. What's really cool is that you just loosen this up, and when you push it up, you just rotate, and now it's ready for a thin slide. And what you do is you just end up taking your spacer, and you got to push this all the way up to get the spacer on there. Put your slide in, and then you crank it down, and you're ready to push that sight. Pretty cool idea. Let's hear you down in the comments below. What do you think about this Real Avid Glock sight pusher? I think they kind of really hit it out of the park with this thing. I mean, again, I love tools I can get my hands on because my hands are getting weak. This thing is just really easy. I mean, look how easy this thing glides. You're not fighting the pusher to push the slide. Thanks for watching. Hope you're staying safe out there. I look forward to seeing you again soon.